Hello everyone, this is Nitpicking Nerd, and I just watched the movie Shoot 'Em Up, and I really enjoyed it. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it because in the beginning it was kind of very silly, and it's basically a parody of all those 90s action movies which were kind of ridiculous, all kinds of ridiculous action scenes which are not realistic, which is something I always liked in those older action movies, even if it's not done well, just because it's so, funny, it's so over the top that it's crazy and bizarre and all of that. So this movie kind of took all those same kind of crazy action scenes and crazy body count and the hero being on god mode basically and all of that kind of stuff, and it made it even more over the top, even more bizarre. And it's also kind of similar to Sin City in the way that it's kind of hyper violent and it's trying to be so cool and all of that, and without all that artistic things in Sin City being black and white and with some color and all of that. Instead, it's simply shot normally, and also the main actor also played in Sin City in a very similar role, so that also is kind of funny. And I also think this movie might have inspired the Mandalorian, because the basic plot is about this hero who finds this baby that people are chasing and trying to kill, and so he's running around with this baby trying to protect it and killing all the bad guys in the process in a crazy way. And it's all very over the top, it's all very silly, and I like that. I like the humor. Some parts maybe a bit too crude, some nasty stuff, and some parts maybe a little bit too silly. Like for example, he keeps taking out a carrot from his coat and keeps eating a carrot all the time, so it's kind of like Bugs Bunny and stuff like that. Kind of too cartoony in my opinion. He also uses the carrot to kill people. He stabs them through the face and it goes all the way through as if it's made from some metal or something, the same carrots that he's chewing all the time. I guess maybe they used carrots to explain why he's such a sharp shooter, because I think he even said in one scene that carrots are good for the eyesight, and so maybe they did that to explain why he's such a sharp shooter, because he eats so many carrots and his eyesight is so good. I guess that was their reasoning. So it was kind of funny once or twice, but then it kind of, I think at least 5 times in the movie, that he keeps taking out an endless supply of carrots from his pocket. But except for that, most of the action scenes were actually well done visually, meaning they were entertaining visually and even looked kind of semi-realistic, except that part of him being invincible and he's basically on god mode and no one can touch him, and even if he's hit with a bullet, it's just a flesh wound and all of that, so that's kind of funny. And some scenes were kind of way over the top, and that's probably my favorite parts of the movie. Like for example, there was a chase scene and he has the baby in the car, and suddenly his car flips over, but then it's perfectly okay and he's okay, but then he looks over and the baby is not in the seat, and then he looks at the road and the baby is left on the road crying somewhere. So that part kind of cracked me up. And also there was a scene later when he jumps out of a plane and then all the bad guys also jump out and trying to shoot him while they're all falling down, and then he manages to kill all of them in the air, and he pushes one of them into a helicopter and all of that. So that scene was so crazy, it was so over the top silly. I was literally laughing watching that scene. And then after that, when he lands and he just walks away, and then the camera shows a wider view and it shows like a whole bunch of dead bodies who all fell to the ground and all died except for him. So that part really cracked me up. So I enjoyed this movie. Do I recommend it to other people? That depends. If you like action movies, especially those silly 90s action movies in which the hero is on god mode and he's having fun killing people with one-liners and stuff like that. So if you like those kinds of movies, you will like this one as well. And as for the comedy in this movie, I think you like it if you like those bizarre, unrealistic comedies like Naked Gun, Top Secret, that kind of stuff. Even though this movie doesn't come close to that kind of level of absurdity, it's nowhere near that, except maybe a few scenes, the ones I mentioned, which I really liked, which were totally unrealistic. Those were my personal favorite parts. And maybe in some moments it was kind of too silly and cringy, so I'm not saying this is a perfect movie, but it was definitely enjoyable. And it kind of reminds me of Bollywood movies, those Indian action movies, which are also totally silly, totally off the wall crazy, with unrealistic action scenes, and that was also very funny. I saw a few movies like that, which made me laugh more than most comedies do, and I'm not even sure how much of it was intentional or not. And this movie is definitely self-aware, intentional comedy, but there was something in that movie which was kind of stupid, which I'm not sure was deliberate, when they basically reveal that the villains in this movie are against the people who are anti-gun, who want to legislate against weapons and stuff like that, so they want to prevent that, so they're buying off politicians and stuff. And the hero is against them. At some point he makes a choice, he kills someone, some politician, because he was going to betray his own policies of being anti-gun and all of that. And I found all of that so ridiculous because the hero himself is killing hundreds of people across the movie, and yet it's revealed that he's anti-gun. Like, this is kind of hypocritical, but you know, this is only comedy, so maybe that was intentional. It was intentionally stupid, but maybe some people will get pissed off at the political message of this movie, if you can even call it that. We can say that maybe because it's a comedy, it's actually poking fun at that, and it's not being serious and all of that. So if you look at it like this, I don't think anyone should get angry, even if you're against the so-called message of this movie. But this is a parody, this is a comedy, so maybe the actual message of this movie is a complete upside down message, because you know, the main hero is using guns, he is killing people, and then he says, I'm anti-gun. It kind of reminds me of one of the episodes of the TV show Arrow, which I used to watch before it became totally stupid. And at some point, you know, the main hero is a vigilante who keeps killing hundreds of people across the show, and yet in one episode, after he becomes mayor of the city, suddenly he's against guns, suddenly he's against weapons, he wants to limit gun ownership and stuff like that, and yet he and his team are killing people with guns all the time. So that was so hypocritical that was hilarious, and I don't think that was intentional in that show. It was just stupid, but we have something similar in this movie, but it might be deliberately stupid to make it funnier. So that's all I have to say about this movie. So I personally enjoyed it. I do recommend it for people who like action movies, especially silly action movies and comedies, so that's why I do recommend it. So that's all I had to say about it for today. Let me know what you think, and we can discuss it in the comment section below, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.